Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Today is, here a little bit of an echo.
Hang on.
We'd use that in the choir on Sunday. Okay. Today is Monday, October 23rd. This is the regular City Commission meeting. I'm going to ask City Clerk Vanessa Castillo, please give us a roll call.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Mercer.
Here.
Commissioner Yates.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong.
Here.
And Mayor Dantzler.
Here. Our invocation tonight will be led by Pastor Cliff Dollison from First Missionary Baptist Church, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Vanessa Castillo, our City Clerk. Please stand to fable.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here tonight. In fact, I came on the right night. We're honoring some wonderful people tonight, and got some church folk in the house. Amen. So y'all might get a prayer and a sermon all together. It feels real churchy in here right now. And don't be surprised if we get an offering later. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Father, we thank you tonight for being who you are. You are our God and you are our King. You rule, Grandmama said, in your super rule. You hold the whole world in your hands. In fact, you have all power in your hands. Thank you, dear Master, for another day's journey. The last night while we slumbered and slept, you encamped about our bedside, the angels watching over us. And early this morning, you allowed us to open our eyes to a brand new day. It's a day that you've made, and you said we should rejoice and be exceedingly glad in it. And truly, we are happy today because Jesus is our King. We praise you tonight, oh God, as we gather in this chamber, Lord, to do what is pleasing in your sight. Realize, oh God, we're living in very changing and challenging times. There are wars and yet rumors of wars. Father, in the land, there are many who are suffering and children are dying and hurting, oh God. Have mercy tonight, oh God. For truly mercy suits all of our case. Father, help us study war no more today. Your word in 2 Chronicles 7:14 said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins and heal their land. Dear God, we pray tonight that you allow healing in the land, healing in our communities, oh God. Father, even in these shores, dear Master, there is great division and strife. Lord, we pray tonight for unity. Where there is unity, there is strength. And we need your strength tonight to carry on, to see what the end will one day be. Father, we pray tonight for every council member here. We pray, dear God, for the commissioners. We pray for our city leadership. Thank you for the wonderful citizens of Winter Haven. Lord, we thank you for our families tonight. We pray, oh God, you'll bless us tonight with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that we will do that which is pleasing in your sight tonight. We ask your blessings in the wonderful name of the King and our Lord Jesus the Christ. And every heart shouted, amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Pastor, and I do think it's time for a collection plate. My goodness. No.
Yeah, they are.
They are? Okay. Okay, we have a couple of very special proclamations and recognitions tonight. The first is the 2023 Mayor John Land Years of Service Recognition for Mayor Pro Tem Nathaniel Birdsong. People know that Nat served back when Lincoln was president, and he has set the bar very high for all of us with his years of service and his ethics and his sense of humor, and it's been a joy to serve with him during my entire career. So the Florida League of Cities is going to make a presentation and a proclamation, and I'm going to turn it over to Aaron Russell, who is here today from, I think, from Tallahassee. And Nat, why don't you come down front, and we're going to stay here and let it all be on you, so.
Thank you, Mayor. And good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, staff, and citizens. As stated, my name's Erin Russell. I'm the Membership Program Specialist from the Florida League of Cities, which is located in Tallahassee, Florida. And just for the benefit of the audience members who may be unfamiliar with the Florida League of Cities, we have served as the united voice for Florida's 411 cities, towns, and villages since 1922. And our goal is to meet the needs of our cities by providing our elected officials and staff with advocacy, education, resources, and other services. And our mission is to always stand up for the rights of the government closest to the people, and that includes governments like the city of Winter Haven. So I do want to take a moment to say thank you for being an active and dedicated member of the League. But it's my special honor to be here this evening, and that is to present Mayor Pro Tem Nathaniel Birdsong with the John Land Years of Service Award in recognition of his 20 years of service to the city of Winter Haven. And I'm going to say that one more time because it's a very big number, and I want to make sure everyone heard that Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong has served this community for 20 years. The John Land Years of Service Award that I'm here to recognize you with this evening was named after Mayor John Land of Apopka, who served his city for 60 years. And so this award recognizes our...
Got a ways to go.
You got 40 more years in you? But this award is here to recognize our municipal elected officials like Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong for their extensive dedicated years to their community. And as I said just a moment ago, local government is the government closest to the people. And that means through your service as a local elected official, you have touched countless of lives in this community through your 20 years. And so I'm here tonight to say thank you for your unwavering dedication to your community. And so at this time, I'd like to read the resolution I'm here to present you with this evening. It says, whereas America's municipal governments have long relied upon the unselfish leadership of their citizens for local self-government, and Florida's municipal governments share the time-honored role as the level of government closest to the people. And whereas this reliance places extraordinary responsibilities upon citizen legislators, which are our municipal elected officials, who make significant sacrifices of their time and energies on behalf of their citizenry, often for little to no compensation, making this commitment a true labor of love. And whereas municipal leaders strive for excellence in the governance of their city, town, or village, and commit themselves to providing quality services, governing effectively, and working to improve the quality of life. And whereas several terms in office are a high compliment voters give to an elected official, and with these years of experience comes a strengthening of wisdom, discernment, and strong leadership skills that bring tremendous values to the municipal governments of Florida. And whereas Nathaniel J. Birdsong Jr. has held office in the city of Winter Haven for 20 years and is recognized for this achievement. So on behalf of the Florida League of Cities, I want to say congratulations on 20 years and thank you for your municipal service.
just stay down. I'm finna get that.
Okay, we have two other proclamations. We have a World Polio Day proclamation. Walter Page, the president of the Rotary Club, will be here. And then after that, we're going to have Greater Works Ministry celebrating 20 years. The legacy continues, and this will be a proclamation by Dr. Joe Nathan Hallman, Bishop and Deborah Saggers Hellman, pastor of Greater Works Ministry. So I'm going to ask, what am I missing? Am I here? Okay, so first up will be World Polio Day, and then second up will be Great Works Ministry. If I could ask my fellow commissioners to join us down here, please.
Thank you, city and commissioners, citizens.
Walter, we're gonna go offer up the proclamation and
Sure.
give you time to speak.
Absolutely.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. Whereas Rotary is a global network of 1.4 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who unite and take action to create lasting change in communities across the globe, and whereas the Rotary motto, service above self, inspires members to provide humanitarian service, follow high ethical standards, and promote goodwill and peace in the world. And whereas Rotary in 1985 launched Polio Plus, and in 1988 helped establish the Global Polio Education Initiative, which today includes the World Health Organization, U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, UNICEF, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, to immunize the children of the world against polio. And whereas polio cases have dropped by 99.9% since 1998, and the world stands on the threshold of eradicating the disease. And whereas to date, Rotary has contributed more than $2.2 billion US and countless volunteer hours to protecting nearly 3 billion children in 122 countries. Rotary is working to raise an additional $50 million per year, which would be leveraged for maximum impact by an additional $100 million annually from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And whereas these efforts are providing much-needed operational support, medical staff, laboratory equipment, and educational materials for health workers and parents. In addition, Rotary has played a major role in decisions by donor governments to contribute more than $10 billion to the effort. And whereas there are 1.4 million Rotary members and 36,000 clubs throughout the world that sponsor service projects to address such critical issues as poverty, disease, hunger, illiteracy, and the environment in their local communities and abroad. Now, therefore, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby proclaim October 24th, 2023 as World Polio Day in the City of Winter Haven, and encourages all citizens to join him and Rotary International in the fight for a polio-free world. In witness whereof, he has hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida to be affixed this 23rd day of October, 2023.
I couldn't have read that any better. And you got me excited. Do I have everybody? Yes, I do. So, and a few up there. So Winter Haven Rotary is proud of what we've accomplished, and we're so proud to be able to serve the city of Winter Haven and all that we do and accomplish. And to think that an organization decided to eradicate a disease, and we're so close, within 2 countries, of getting that done. So we appreciate the proclamation and your support, and thank you for the time.
Mayor and Commissioners, our next proclamation this evening is recognizing Greater Works Ministries, celebrating 20 years. The legacy continues. If we have representatives from Greater Works, I see Joe Holman and others coming forward. I don't know that I've ever heard that in a city commission meeting.
First time.
So our proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the Greater Works Ministry of Winter Haven is celebrating its 20th anniversary of its founders, Bishop Joe Nathan and Pastor Deborah Hallman. We congratulate them on sustaining their roots in Winter Haven since 2003, making their ministry an incredible accomplishment. And whereas God inspired Bishop and Pastor Hallman and a dynamic group of trailblazers with a vision to establish a permanent place of worship. The property was first leased in the southwest area of Winter Haven and later our current home, a parcel of land to be built on at 2110 Oakhurst Drive in the northeast section of Winter Haven. The sanctuary was constructed and they celebrated with a great cloud of witness. Under the leadership of Bishop and Pastor Hallman, they paid off the mortgage during the pandemic. They are now continuing the vision by making plans to construct their community center that will house activities for the entire Polk community, such as classes, food distribution, clothes closets, a sports facility, as well as a facility available for social events. And whereas the legacy continues, today, under the authority of the Holy Spirit and the leadership of Bishop and Pastor Hallman, not only accepted the call as the founders of Greater Works Ministries, but have now grown to have ministries in several cities and thus have founded the United Fellowship of the World, where Bishop Hallman is the presiding prelate, and this fellowship of churches of many denominations on one accord. A further tribute to Bishop and Pastor Hallman's leadership is the influence and leadership evidenced by the steady growth in church membership. And whereas Bishop Hallman and Pastor Deborah Hallman are to be commended on dedication to the church, the city of Winter Haven, Polk County, and faith-based organizations across the state of Florida and the United States, their passionate influence and forged partnerships have sustained Greater Works Ministries even through the pandemic when some ministries had to close their doors. They have expressed that God had blessed them throughout the years and has manifested daily through their mission, enter to worship, exit to serve. Now therefore, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby extend best wishes to Greater Works Ministries, celebrating 20 years. The legacy continues. In witness whereof he is hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, to be affixed this 23rd day of October 2023. Signed, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor. Attest, Vanessa Castillo, City Clerk. Congratulations.
To the mayor and certainly the commissioners, I was going to have all Greater Work Ministry members, if they would stand, and Reverend Dollison has already preached the sermon, so I'll just take the offering. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you for taking this time to recognize us. Certainly we could not do what we do without great members. We have some of the greatest parishioners on this side of heaven. And we try to do our best to take care of the needs of Winter Haven. And we do it out of the pockets of the members. They give in their time, their talent, their resources to make sure folks have food, clothing, shelter. And we're thankful to God that even during the pandemic, we were able to pay the church off and to say we're debt-free. And we're a very young church. So again, thank you on behalf of my wife and I, who certainly works tirelessly with me in the ministry. We thank you, and we're certainly praying for our city commissioners, not only them, but certainly the staff who does a great job every day. Thank you.
So Joe, somebody lied to the pastor?
All right, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. One more. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Wait for a minute, let everybody leave. Okay, I think we can go ahead and move on. Apologize for messing up that surprise, but it all worked out, so. Okay. The minutes of the note, we have none. Commissioners, you have the minutes from the September 6th City Commission meeting and general review session?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
move approval of the minutes.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the minutes from the September 6th City Commission meeting. Close the City Commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to the minutes, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen City Commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion passes. Comments from the audience, we've had one person sign up. Are you working, Linda, are you looking to speak to something on the agenda? Yes, sir. Okay, we're going to call on you then, if that's okay. But if anybody else has something they'd like to speak about at this point, please come forward. Okay, we see none. We will move on to ordinance second reading, public hearing. Commissioners, you have O-2352. This is administrative request to amend section 21-96D of the Winter Haven Code of Ordinance for the purpose of addressing hours of sale of service of alcoholic beverage. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-52, an ordinance amending Chapter 21, Article Roman numeral 2, Division 5, Section 21-96D of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, for the purpose of addressing alcoholic beverage hours for sale or service, providing for administrative correction of scrivener's errors, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, Chapter 21, Article 2, Division 5 of the City Code addresses alcoholic beverage establishments and was adopted in May of 2017. Section 2196, subparagraph D, hours for sale or service, was amended in 2018 to extend the sale of beer and wine for off-premise consumption from 12 noon Sunday to 12 midnight Sunday to the new time of 7 a.m. Sunday to 2 a.m. Monday next. In 2021, Senate Bill 148 was signed into law, which allowed restaurants to sell or deliver alcoholic beverages prepared by the vendor in sealed containers. This was part of the COVID legislation that came about. This provision of state law allows for this service as part of the establishment's consumption on-premise alcohol license. Several surrounding municipalities within Polk County have recently revised their hours for sale or service for Sunday. Bartow, Haines City, Lakeland, Lake Wales, Mulberry, and Polk City permit on-premises consumption prior to noon on Sundays. The townships and cities of Davenport, Dundee, Eagle Lake, Fort Meade, Frostproof, Haines City, Lake Hamilton, Lakeland, Lake Wales, and Polk City permit package sales of spirits for off-premise consumption on Sundays. Ordinance 2352 proposes to amend Sunday package sales from beer and wine only from Sunday 7 a.m. until 2 a.m. Monday next to now include beer, wine, and spirits from Sunday 7 a.m. until 2 a.m. and to amend Sunday on-premises consumption, which would be at restaurants, bars, or similar establishments, from 12 noon Sunday to 12 midnight Sunday to the new time frame of 7 a.m. Sunday to 12 midnight Sunday. This change in ordinance, we do have to ensure compliance with Chapter 2023-304. Staff has reviewed the proposed Land Development Code amendment and determined it to fall within the limited exception to Section 14 of Chapter 2023-304 Laws of Florida. In conclusion, this request is consistent with long-term goals to grow the social, cultural, and business community of the city. Additionally, this amendment allows the City of Winter Haven standards to be more consistent with neighboring municipalities to allow local Winter Haven businesses the opportunity to be competitive within Polk County. We did do a financial impact, business impact estimate for this. There is no direct financial impact to the city with this request. It is exempt from the posting and providing of a business impact estimate. However, the following is submitted in order to demonstrate compliance with Section 166.041 of the Florida statutes. This ordinance extends the hours for sale of on-premises consumption of alcoholic beverages as well as the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption on Sunday by establishments located within the city that have the proper licensure from the state to do so. There are no anticipated compliance costs associated. It's anticipated that affected businesses will have a positive economic benefit. There are no new charges or fees associated with the ordinance, nor any regulatory costs or revenue accruing. The estimated number of businesses affected by Ordinance 02352 is 96, which includes 9 package and 87 on-premise consumption licenses. Planning Commission voted at their September 5th, 2023 regular meeting to recommend approval of this request. There were no members who spoke on behalf of the public at that meeting. Staff is recommending City Commission approve Ordinance 023-52 on second and final reading. There is a slide that is shown on the screens that shows the difference between what is currently allowed and what is proposed, and staff is available to answer any questions the Commission may have. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, questions or comments for staff? We've heard on this 3 times now, so this is number 4. Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
motion for approval of ordinance O-23-52.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion to approve O-2352. I'll close the City Commission meeting and open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this item, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, reopen the City Commission meeting. Commissioners, any questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Okay, on to O-2357. This is a request by Enright Real Property Company. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-57, an ordinance of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, establishing the Peace Creek Village Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statutes, naming the district, describing the external boundaries of the district, describing the functions and powers of the district, designating 5 persons to serve as the initial members of the district's Board of Supervisors, providing notice of requirements, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, a severability clause, and providing an effective date. The general location, the area covered by this request is generally located north of Old Bartow Lake Wales Road and east of McLean Road. The area covered by this request is 95.38 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, Enright Real Property LLC has filed a petition with the city requesting to establish the Peace Creek Village Community Development District, or CDD. As the city attorney said, this includes approximately 95.38 acres, which will include 324 lots within the boundaries of the CDD. Florida statute allows a developer to petition to establish a CDD for the purpose of managing the provision of infrastructure improvements and public services, including funding. CDD will consist of a 5-member Board of Supervisors, known as the CDD Board, having the authority to oversee the installation of infrastructure improvements, secure financing, and to levy non-ad valorem special assessments on future property owners within its boundaries. The petitioner has submitted a statement of estimated regulatory costs for the CDD. Statement indicates total infrastructure costs are estimated at $15,949,664 and will be financed through non-ad valorem revenue bonds. Based on the statement, the state of Florida, Polk County, and the city of Winter Haven will not incur any costs relating to the establishment of the CDD, nor, per Chapter 190 Florida statutes, will any debts be incurred that are incurred by the CDD become debts of the city, county, or the state of Florida. Infrastructure within the Peace Creek Village CDD will be public, but with the exception of water, sewer, and reuse facilities will be maintained by the CDD. As of the date of this petition, there are 7 current CDDs operating within the city. Ordinance O-2357 is exempt from the business impact estimate requirements of Florida law that went into effect on October 1st, 2023. Staff recommends City Commission approve Ordinance O-23-57 on second and final reading. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, just for the record, you'll note that your agenda also includes some pre-filed testimony from David Matt and also Steve Sloan.
Okay, let the record reflect. All right, Commissioners. Questions, comments? Anybody want to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve ordinance O-23-57 on second reading.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion to approve O-2357 on second reading. I'll close the City Commission meeting, open a public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak on O-2357, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and reopen City Commission meeting. Commissioners, questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Commissioners, you have in front of you consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes?
move approval of the consent agenda in its entirety.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety. I will close the City Commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this item, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, reopen City Commission meeting. Commissioners, any questions or comments on anything on the consent agenda? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just ask for consideration, I'd like Assistant City Manager Charlie Bird just to give a quick update. We do have a public meeting that will come up on one of those items, which is the Winter Haven Fire Station. It's an informational piece. If he would just share when that will be and where.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Yeah, it's on 10H. Yeah.
10H, okay.
Just part of our public outreach.
Yes. Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, there will be a public meeting that's scheduled for Thursday, November 9th, 2023, from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Northeast Recreational and Cultural Center. It'll be open to the public, where they'll be able to see the renderings of what we are building up there, what we'll be building. Team members from Public Safety, City, and our builders, Whitehead, will be present to answer any questions and provide any feedback or take any feedback from the public for consideration.
Charlie, will there be any kind of a presentation, or is it going to be just a drop-in?
It's a drop-in.
Drop-in? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And we will advertise that accordingly, Mayor and Commissioners. Just want to make sure our public has a strong awareness of what's going to be happening there and the time frame for it, for any interruptions that it may cause in their community.
Okay. On the resolution, item 11A on agenda is R-2354. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please? This is
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-23-54, a resolution establishing fees for sidewalk cafe applications as permitted by the Winter Haven Unified Land Development Code, providing for severability, repealing all resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, we had, I think, a good discussion on this during the agenda review, but I'm going to ask Eric Labby if he'd like to walk us through this item this evening, please.
Sure. Mayor, Commissioners, Section 21104, Sub 1C allows for sidewalk cafe application fees for the initial application and subsequent renewals to be set by resolution of the City Commission. This resolution is before you tonight to do so. On the first application of a sidewalk cafe, sidewalk cafes that are using existing infrastructure, that would be existing sidewalk, public right-of-way space, that fee would be set at $150. Sidewalk cafes creating new infrastructure, if there's an applicant applying to create new space within the public right-of-way, that application fee would be $300. And then annual renewals would be set forth as follows. Sidewalk cafes for other uses other than restaurants, food sales and service, or alcoholic drinking establishments would be $100. Sidewalk cafes for restaurants, food service, and alcoholic drinking establishments of less than 200 feet would be set at $200 renewal, and sidewalk cafes of that nature that are greater than 200 square feet would be set at $300. Staff's review and analysis has determined this request is not restricted by the provisions of Section 14, Chapter 2023-304, Laws of Florida. Resolution R2354 will establish those fees, and staff does recommend approval of Resolution R2354.
Thank you, Eric. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Move for approval of Resolution R2354.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve R 2354. I will close city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this item, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen city commission meeting. Commissioners, questions or comments on this?
Just a quick question.
Yes.
I apologize, I wasn't here Wednesday, so I missed that discussion. But, so is this, for the sidewalk cafes that we're putting in, or that usage, to get things rolling and get things started, everybody's going to have to pay this now and apply now, and then subsequently going forward?
That is, yes, yeah, that is correct. So this is to have that exclusive use of that expanded sidewalk space. And some of it is not just in the areas that we have done under the current project. There are actually some areas that were expanded out in prior year streetscape improvements. The area directly adjacent to Arabella's is an example of that, where we converted a bump out. So that would be those areas where you can accommodate outdoor seating, dining, would go through this process.
Was there any thought to potentially waiving that initial fee in conjunction with the application for existing businesses that have had to go through this construction phase?
We didn't consider that, no, sir.
No, and I don't know that that came up during the discussion of, impact during construction. I will say that, this is a relatively minor expense in staff's opinion for the expansion of a footprint in which to serve. And keep in mind, there's also, because these are within the CRA, there is a grant application process that I believe is up to $3,000 towards the actual furniture to go onto that space that the businesses can avail themselves to. I do want to point out just an update on that project in general, and I think this is some good news. That is moving forward at a quick pace. They were doing pavers, and I'm looking to Angie here. I know that they were doing pavers on the north side of Central Avenue between 3rd and 4th Street last week, and have that very small amount left to do in there that will allow us to adjust some of those barricades to create greater pathway through there. They were pouring concrete for the pavers to be installed on the south side, and they are moving rapidly on that eastern portion between 2nd and 3rd. So, Angie, please correct me if I'm wrong on any of that, but I believe that we are hot and heavy towards our target completion goal.
We are. There are more pavers coming in this week. So watch for that on Central. They're moving fast and furious and still very much on target to complete the major construction by Thanksgiving holiday.
Is there any potential further discussion if we pass this tonight? Is it locked in, or is that something that we could potentially circle back to on?
You can always circle back to these types of things, Commissioner Yates, in terms of, this is the legislative type thing that you're doing. So if you wish to, the majority of you wishes to circle back and discuss it, it's always available.
And I don't disagree that it's a pretty small, insignificant cost, but the financial impact to a lot of the businesses downtown has been felt because of this construction that's taken place. So be that it is small, I think, it could go a long way to helping a small business move forward. So just a thought I would potentially like to circle back to it if we could, but I'm fine with passing it tonight, because I do think new businesses as they come in should be charged that fee to utilize that space. That's just my 2 cents.
And Commissioner Yates, what I might suggest, certainly, city attorney would be the best person to take guidance on this, but I would say that I would suggest that if you wanted to pass this evening, and then if the commission was so inclined to offer some type of waiver on that, we can bring that back as an item for consideration if there's interest from the commission in doing so. But I think having a fee schedule is, we definitely need to have something in place.
Go ahead, Nat.
I'm just, what would be the total impact cost-wise?
In terms of lost revenue?
No, I'm talking about for all of the businesses if we did it.
Well, you probably have, Angie, how many businesses would be able to avail themselves to the cafes we have in place?
Currently, I think we're just over 20, 24, something like that.
And that's if they so chose to actually pursue use of that space.
And I'm not suggesting to waive subsequent annual renewal fees. I'm just to get over this initial hump is my only hesitation on this, so.
Mayor Pro Tem, based upon Angie's estimate of that and the fact that you're looking at about $150 existing sidewalk on those that would be impacted because that's where they're going in, it's a relatively, $3,000 at the end of the day, relatively small amount, maximum.
So, go ahead, Brian.
I guess the question, whoever made the motion, would they be willing to amend the motion to waive the initial fee for businesses that have been
Commissioner made the
open
motion.
through construction?
You want to amend your motion, or would you rather just go ahead and vote and we take it up later?
Go ahead and vote, and if
Okay,
so be it, we can come back and revisit.
okay. I've got a couple of questions in regards to this. Number one, and these are questions that have been asked of me. Let's say we want to go to another street, like Third Street or on the park or something. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We basically are building this as we go, and we can just kind of reinstitute, and if we decide we want to do that, if this goes great, it'll be much simpler this time. And then the other thing that was brought up had to do with traffic, one-way traffic. I know we haven't contemplated one-way traffic yet on Central, but when people are on both sides of the road, but maybe we have contemplated. Eric, have you thought about maybe making it one-way instead of having two lanes of traffic going there where people are eating?
Not at this time. I mean, there's adequate right-of-way for two-way traffic on Central. Doesn't preclude something in the future if that was the community's desire in some way, but
I have a feeling that may come up at some point where you have one road going either north or south or east or west. I don't really never know what that means, but north and south, I think, or no, east and west. Yeah.
I would say, Mayor, in contemplating that, the catch to it is you have to figure out what is the opposite pair. So if you're going to one-way a road
Right.
to the east only, then you have to come up with another road that you're going to pick up the westbound traffic. And part of the challenge of that within the downtown is you have to align that to where your signals would be, so as you don't create a gridlock for one traffic flow over another. I would tend to agree with Mr. Labby that, the project was designed to ensure we had adequate right-of-way for two-way traffic flow through there. I will say it does give us a better opportunity or greater ease if we want to close that road for specific events or during specific times, because we're not competing with cars that would be parked in that area.
Right. I'm just thinking, I was in St. Pete over the weekend and walked all around, kind of looking what they done over there, and just, now St. Pete's different, and they have a lot of one-way traffic through there, but it just made it a more pleasurable experience to be out on the street without two lanes of traffic, but it may come up, it may not, I'm just throwing it out there. 'Cause
Yes, sir.
That was my observation, so. Okay, anybody else? Okay, all those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion passes. All right, oh, wait.
Can I ask
No,
for,
there was no motion. This was ordinance first reading. Or this was a
That's a
resolution. Resolution passes.
And it passed.
Now we're going to ordinance first reading.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Can I just ask for clarification? Is the commission willing or in agreeance for staff to go back and circle back on potentially waiving that first fee to these businesses impacted by the construction over the last 6 to 9 months?
So what you're asking is if there's consensus on the commission, if you would like for staff to go back and
Back and bring it back.
bring it back to us at another later date?
I don't even know that they need to bring it back to us necessarily, but I think if everyone was in agreement to that,
I think from a parliamentary rules process, you could vote on that tonight. It's on the agenda. It's been published.
Just make
The
a
top-
new agenda specific
The topic
to it.
is on it in terms of these fees under this resolution. So if you wanted to do that tonight, you
This is
could.
clearly not a budget issue or anything. We're not having to amend the budget or anything like that. This is just I think I'm.
Probably
in
cancel
favor.
Christmas, but that's,
Pardon?
let's probably have to cancel the Christmas party or
Yeah,
something. No, I'm
yeah.
kidding. No, if the commission's so inclined, we can do that, and I'll let you consider that and give
And
us
it would
direction.
come from,
It just would be revenue that didn't come in. This is not necessarily revenue that's contemplated in,
later, yeah.
I'll just make a motion if that's acceptable.
I'll accept it. Go ahead.
So
up to the
so I guess I
mayor.
should ask you,
Yeah,
shouldn't I?
I'll accept the motion.
My apologies, sir.
No. Go ahead. I'll take it.
So I would make the motion that the initial fee is waived for businesses that have been impacted of the construction of the sidewalk cafes over the construction period.
1 year.
Just the first initial fee.
Okay, so we're clear on that.
so they still have to do an application. They're just waived of the fee if they are located on Central Avenue at present time.
Correct.
For 1 year.
And then they would pay the fee going forward after.
Their anniversary date of their permit renewal.
Perfect. Okay, we clear what we're voting on? All right, I'll close the city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public want to speak to this, please do so at this time. Okay, come on up, give us your name and address. You got 5 minutes.
Jonathan Lane, I guess representing Haven Local on Central. Appreciate your help, Brian. Question, what are we basing, it's not a lot, but it is a lot, especially as sales have dropped probably about 80%, just for record, and we have numbers, but why aren't we, because if you look at our space in front of Haven Local, it's much smaller than, say, what Arabella's is going to be charged. So where are we getting the, hey, that's 150 and that's 150? Why aren't we saying, hey, that space is smaller? Why don't we just do 40? Or, so I guess my thing is, where are we going with the numbers on the yearly charge?
Sure. So the first application fee, the staff time is the staff time for every application. It doesn't matter really how big or how small the cafe is. It's the same amount of review time required. It goes to a development review committee for approval. And so this was a fee to sort of recoup some of that cost of processing that application. The annual renewals were based on size and based on type. So if you were a non-food or alcoholic beverage establishment, you pay a higher fee because you likely would have more wear and tear in that area, require more maintenance and upkeep of that space, pressure washing. And if you're a retailer and you weren't really using that space for food and beverage, less wear and tear, less maintenance required. So the annual fees are lower. They're lower for the smaller cafes and then a little more for the larger cafes. That was the methodology behind it, just to try to recoup some of that cost.
Where do we go forward with that? Going with that, is it something that and it's something we could probably talk about, Eric, I know I have your number, so. But I guess is like in the future, is that what we're basing it off of in the sense of are we ever gonna go to square footage? Are we ever, I'm thinking long-term, in the sense of like, this is great that we're doing this and this first year's great and annual can be the first year, but that second year we decide to bring it up. What are we gonna continually base that off of? And if I'm out of my way, I can.
Yeah, I'm not sure I totally understand
I guess
the question, but
moving forward, what are we gonna base the annual renewal of that space?
it's
Based upon what's
It's already
in
said.
the
That's
resolutions.
what's reflected
Okay.
on that chart.
yeah,
Okay.
it's based on size and it's based on the use type.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
And I'll follow up.
Yeah,
with
we'll
you.
talk. Thanks, guys.
Okay, anybody else in the public like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Commissioners, last chance. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion passes.
So for clarification, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, I just want to make sure that staff has this correct. We have adopted the fee schedule as presented. However, the initial application fee for those businesses impacted by the current sidewalk cafe project will be waived However, their renewals will not.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, on to ordinance first reading. There will be no vote on this one tonight. O-2339, this is a request by Latigo Winter Haven LLC. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance O-23-39, and ordinance amending Chapter 21 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida by amending Plan Unit Development Ordinance O-22-11, providing for administrative correction of scrivener's errors, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. General location, the vacant parcel generally located south of Coon Lake Road and lying between Lake Hart and Lake Reeves. The area covered by this request is 66.8 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor Commissioners, Mr. Labby will present this item this evening.
Sir, Mayor Commissioners, Latigo Winter Haven LLC is the petitioner. They're requesting to amend Plan Unit Development Ordinance O-2211. The property contains approximately 66.83 acres and consists of woodlands, wetlands, and former citrus groves. PD 2211 was adopted by the City Commission March 14th, 2022, and allows for 270 multifamily units, 180 townhome villa units, and 33 single-family lots. The petitioner is requesting to amend the ordinance as follows. Increase the number of multifamily units from 270 to 324, decrease the number of townhome villa units from 180 to 168, and eliminate the 33 single-family lots. They are seeking to revise the concept plan to provide for more open space on the eastern portion of the property and to move the northwestern multifamily building further to the east. The changes represent a total increase of 9 units. The area that was formerly single-family will now be open space. In addition to the requested changes, from the petitioner, staff has added 2 additional conditions addressing electric vehicle charging station infrastructure and the installation of landscape buffer along Coon Lake Road adjacent to the verandas at Traditions. No other changes to the previous PUD are proposed. All public notifications were met. It is in compliance with Chapter 2023-304. Staff's conclusion. The elimination of the proposed single-family lots and the slight increase in multifamily units will result in an increased amount of open space and green space on the property. The revised concept plan will provide for greater setback for the multifamily buildings from the Heart Lake Hills subdivision, while preserving the previously approved setbacks from Savannah Point subdivision. There is sufficient water, wastewater, and roadway capacity to serve this development. The development intensity is consistent with the adopted residential suburban future land use, and the proposed residential uses will provide additional housing options in the southeastern portion of the city. The Planning Commission did hear this on October 3rd, 2023, and voted to recommend approval. There were 3 public comments related to compatibility with single family and additional traffic on roads. Staff does recommend approval of ordinance O-2339. Thank you.
Okay, well, let me start by first saying, T and John, I told you guys this the other day, thank you so much for the red line on this and other stuff. John, you usually do it on contracts, but Eric, I know you and Sean did that, and I thank you very much, and I hope it makes it so much easier for us up here to see what's changing when you're changing stuff, so thank you for that, and I hope we can continue on with that practice. The other thing was, again, we talked about electric charging. You said infrastructure, but it'll actually be an electric charger.
Yes, sir, I misspoke at our agenda review meeting. There will be 1 station required with 2 hookups, 2 charging stations. So not just the infrastructure. They have to put in the infrastructure for 10% of the parking spaces.
Right.
And put in 1 charging station that has 2 hookups.
Okay, all right.
Painted green.
Okay, go ahead, Brian.
This is the one Linda wanted.
Oh, yes, I was going to call Linda Fife. Is this, you wrote down O-2329, but I assume this is what you meant, right? Yes, sir. Appreciate you waiting. Give us your name and address. You have 5 minutes.
Sure. My name is Linda Fife. I live at 3691 Plymouth Drive, Winter Haven. That's in the community of Traditions, which is abuts on the south side of this planned development. And directly impacts our entire neighborhood. I've spoken both times at the Planning Commission. Back in March of 2022, there were 50 people in the audience here from Savannah Point, Heart Lake Hills, the verandas, Traditions, Lake Ashton, verandas. There were 16 communities along there that came to speak regarding this development. I did have an opportunity to speak to the Latigo group after the meeting last year, 2 weeks ago, and we had some clarifications. But again, and I talked to you about the apartments that we've kind of gone overboard along Cypress Gardens and down through Thompson Nursery. So once again, and I'll probably speak on the second reading also, but just to keep in mind a couple of things along there. As Sean has pointed out several times, you're looking at a community, 66 acres that is completely surrounded by single-family homes. There is not a multi-family unit within 3 miles of this planned development. One of the things that we pointed out, we're really happy at Traditions because if you look at the map to the east side of Lake Reeves, our villas are on the east side. That whole green area around Lake Reeves on the northeast and west belongs to Traditions at Winter Haven, not Traditions at the verandas. The buffer that they are presenting along Coon Lake Road, they say verandas at Traditions, that actually belongs to Traditions at Winter Haven. We are very pleased that the 33 houses that were proposed on the south side of our villas have been negated, and I think it was because soil samples or something, but our conversation with the builder was that they were going to put a retention pond in that area, and we just want to assure in the future that that will remain. There's a couple of places in here where they talk about townhomes abutting. All of our villas are single-story along that north side on the east end of the property, and also the verandas on the west side of Lake Reeves, between, on the north side there, those are all one-story also. So you're talking about putting 3-story multifamily units completely surrounded by single-family homes. We know that there is going to be an opportunity to clear the property, to do burning. We want to make sure that we abide by state standards for burning and clearing areas. The other thing that I've certainly noticed in my neighborhood is that on certain days, especially along Cypress Gardens Boulevard, the noise abatement rules that apply in the city of Winter Haven from 7 a.m. To 11 p.m. where we have noise, but there's not supposed to be anything before 7 o'clock in the morning. I live 3 miles away from Cypress Gardens across Lake Ruby, and we hear construction banging on those apartments already at 6:30 in the morning. So we hope that the city stays on top of noise construction in that area. We hope that they stay on top of the burning and the clearing of that area. And final note, and I promise it'll be the final, my organization, the 16 communities, met with the superintendent of schools last March of 2022. He assured us that no development that had not been started before December the 31st of 2022, that those students would go to Chain of Lakes Elementary. At this point, from the intersection of Thompson Nursery Road and Ruby Lake, there's a Dollar General there. That is the point where all of these students will come out onto Thompson Nursery Road. It is 3 miles from that intersection down to the new elementary, South Point Elementary, which means that according to the numbers that they've given us, that probably 96 elementary age students will be coming out of that development every morning because their parents are probably going to transport them. So they're going to come out Coon Lake Road, they're going to get to Thompson Nursery, which is going to be under construction for the next 8 years. They're going to turn west onto Eloise Loop Road and then turn due south on 653, right past Chain of Lakes Elementary School where the traffic is backed out on that road. So you're going to have another 100 kids going down that street trying to get to South Point. So I think there's some areas that you really need to look at, and I thank you for your time. Thank you.
And Linda, we hope that it won't take 8 years to do Thompson Nursery Road.
Yes, thank you.
We're hoping. Okay, anybody else? All right, we will take this up again on November 13th. On second reading. New business, authorizing to negotiate a contract with a public-private P3 for East Winter Haven Aquifer Recharge and Wetland Restoration Project. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll defer to the city manager.
Mayor, Commissioners, and for Commissioner Yates' benefit, who was traveling on city business last Wednesday, I think we had a good discussion with the representatives from RES, but I do want to revisit this item for Commissioner Yates' benefit and those that are in the audience. In August of this year, the city, well, actually, let me go back a little further than that. We had received a unsolicited proposal, which is the vehicle used in public-private partnerships to help deliver capital projects. And the city had received such a proposal in March of 2023, specific to the development of the East Winter Haven Aquifer Recharge and Wetland Restoration Project. This is when a company, an entity that is out there is aware of a project that a city may be interested in, and they submit a proposal to deliver that project on behalf of the city through a 3P program. When that happens, the city, if it's so inclined to entertain that unsolicited proposal, must advertise that, similar to what we do with our typical invitations to bid, requests for qualifications, or requests for proposals, so that other entities may have an opportunity to submit something similar. The city had done that in August of this year, and there were no additional proposals received. So the unsolicited proposal submitted by Resource Environmental Solutions, or RES, as we've been referring to them, is for a turnkey public-private partnership project that provides aquifer recharge and wetland restoration consistent with the city's goals and intent for the One Water Winter Haven Sapphire Necklace Initiative to be located at the East Winter Haven Aquifer Recharge and Wetland Restoration Project at Bradco Farms. Because we have gone through that solicitation advertisement, we are now at the point where the staff is asking the commission for authorization to begin discussions with RES to see if we can negotiate a contract for a 3P delivery method. Now, to reiterate on 3Ps, typically the city has used hard bid projects where we design something, we put it out to bid, and then we build it. We've used design-build projects, which is what the Winter Haven Fire Station Complex 4 is. We've done CMAR projects, such as the Advent Health Fieldhouse and Conference Center and the Chain of Lakes Park Phase 2. This is a new tool in the toolbox in which a private entity, based upon the outcomes that we hope to have with this project, the recharge, the amenities that would be on there, they will fund and develop, they will pursue grant funding and use their own capital to design, develop, operate, and manage this site for an extended period of time, at which point the city will basically lease that back. We will make payments on an annual basis, and ultimately the city will own all of the improvements on the site. It is simply a more efficient way to get the project delivered without having to issue any additional debt for it, and also to extend out the period where it's managed and operated by a third party to ensure that it is delivering the results that we hope for. So again, we have received that unsolicited proposal. We have advertised it. At this point, staff would like to request authorization to begin negotiations and discussions with RES to see if we can come to a mutually agreeable contract to move this project forward.
Okay. Brian, you weren't here, but we had a really good discussion with RES, and basically the analogy that I drew was one of they're going to be our lobbyists in some ways. They're going to help us negotiate contracts, find grants, a lot of things. Gary, speak up if I'm saying something that's wrong, but that's kind of what we talked about, right? So, okay. But we were favorably impressed with the people that were here.
Yeah, I think that these types of partnerships are really the future.
Yeah.
I mean, the school board has utilized this project now for a new elementary school. The dividends are already being felt from that project, and I think that, you know, going forward on these larger scale projects that, you know, are within municipalities, it just yields great opportunity to move forward, and it's less of a burden on the taxpayers and the municipalities. So,
This is a game changer if we can pull this off, and it looks like this when it's all said and done.
yeah.
This will be a game changer for Winter Haven, especially that side of, that going out that way, so,
This project is awesome.
yeah, it's a good one. Nat?
I'm just wondering, what's the time frame for the negotiations?
Gary, you want to help address that, sir? I think it's all based on how agreeable they are.
Well, they came to us, so that's,
I'd say that's accurate.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. We have set up a meeting to begin discussions, if it's approved this evening, for November 2nd, for our initial kickoff meeting. In talking with the representatives from RES, they feel that we would be on a timeline of reaching an agreement for something to present to City Commission in January.
Okay.
okay.
And-
Got to give them
and-
plenty of time to find a couple million to bring in and just really get us off on the right foot, so.
I tell you, this is a major project.
This is a big one.
It really
People don't
is.
realize this, but this is a biggie.
There are impacts that we just not even into this information.
This is the first gem.
The first gym, that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And again, I think that this model, Commissioner Yates, you're correct. You know, this is what the school district just did for Scenic Terrace. It places all the risk on the private side of the partnership. It certainly allows them to deliver that project and achieve the outcomes that we want. It does not require the tremendous amount of time from our own staff, our own human resources, to manage and oversee and deliver these projects, which is tremendous benefit. I do think that going forward, the magnitude of projects that cities have and the capacity of the private sector to build those out efficiently, effectively, to leverage their procurement processes is something that makes that very attractive for large projects.
And I think that just in terms of, this is first for us, as you've all noted, and I think given the, the complexities and all of the scale and scope of this particular project, negotiating this is going to be very, very important. I think being able to negotiate a really good contract. I think RES has a lot more experience, although it's not a lot of experience in terms of length of years. So we're going to have to, anyway, I think January is that's a very optimistic timeframe. But I'm nonetheless, we're here tonight.
Yeah,
Mayor? Oh, wait, Brian wants to say something else before we
I
take a
was
motion?
going to say, I think, again, my fingers will be crossed to move forward because of the importance of this project, but also outside of this project, I hope that this partnership goes well and works well, because I think that it can pave the way for wastewater treatment plant 3's project down the road as well. And so this can be a roadmap for the city to continue in these relationships going forward.
Which is why the roadbed needs to be really solid.
Yes.
Well, and John, I don't have to say, I'm always going to ask about what happens if something goes wrong. What's our exit ramps? Make sure those are very
Absolutely.
clear.
Valid questions. And that's what we're going to be focused on.
Good. Nat, did you?
I want to ask, at the meeting, at the agenda review, it was stated that the county,
Yeah, so the county went through just, they're what, 6 months ahead of us, I'll say. They, at their commission meeting last Tuesday, they, I believe it was approved, I've not seen the action items, but it was on their agenda to approve a contract with RES for a similar project out on the, I believe it's off of Thornhill Road area. I don't remember the acreage or all the scope that was involved, but it is again, an environmentally sensitive project that is a 3P approach. As I said, they're about 6 months ahead of us, their proposal. We actually used some of their language for their advertisement on the unsolicited proposal to craft ours. The city attorney's office and Gary worked on that. So we do have someone that's on the path ahead of us. that if there's big bumps that they hit or tree branches to stumble over, we'll certainly see them thanks to our county friends there.
Oh, Tracy.
Okay, I think this is a good project to start with, this kind of project. I'd be more reluctant with the wastewater treatment plant, let me tell you that. So, okay. So, yes, I think it's a good project.
Okay. I
It's
just
more
need,
environmental project than utilities,
Yeah.
water and wastewater.
I just need a motion, Commissioners.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Move for the authorization to negotiate the contract for the P3 partnership.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the partnership with P3. I'll close the city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak on this item, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen city commission meeting. Questions, comments? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose like sign.
Aye.
Oh,
Aye.
Sorry, I was not in opposed.
Someone to ask,
Went off the rail there.
Okay, we'll go back. Come on, give us your name and address, please. You got 5 minutes.
I'm Ernestine Davis. I live 3075 Buckeye Loop Road in Winter Haven. And I wanted to ask a question about all the houses that's going up. You all they don't have a playground for the kids to play. Nope. They have to play in the road, little toddlers be in the road playing. So we need to do better for our kids. We need to do better. Also, the apartments that's going up, they're just going up. Lakeland apartments look beautiful. Balcony and all this. Our apartments look like, kind of in the country. They don't have no place to them. So you all, when they come for you, you all need to talk to them about how they're gonna look. They just, within a month's time, look like, half of them be up. They be busy. And seem like they just throw them up. So we need to look close about our city, where our city look beautiful. Lakeland look all together different from Winter Haven apartments. And I noticed on Avenue O, we have some going up. And I hope that it be a balcony somewhere. You don't have everything is just closed in. So I think you all need to look closer to what's going on in our city. Thank you.
Make your Ernestine. Okay, I will close the public hearing and reopen city commission meeting. We already have a motion. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose like sign, motion passes. Okay, on the commission liaison reports. Start off with you, Tracy. You want to go first?
Sure. I participated in Feeding of the Needy at the First Baptist Church of Lucerne Park. I did a virtual local housing partnership until my battery died on my phone. The Ridge League of Cities, attended that along with Brian, and just wanted to say it's hosted here, and I want to say thank you to staff who did a great job in doing all of the decorations and everything. The One Water Summit, I attended part of that at the Advent Health Fieldhouse Hispanic Heritage Luncheon. That was really great. Great food, great surroundings. And thanks again for everyone who worked on that committee, who made it really memorable. Florenceville CRA Advisory Board, we had 2 improvement grants that were approved, and they elected the chair and the vice chair at that meeting. They also did the Chamber Corporate Cup. We judged costume contest, team spirit, and banner for the chamber. Also attended the Polk, did not attend, I did the on the phone again, the Polk Vision Smart Communities meeting. Also attended the Hands on the Haven Trucks Technical and Tails Daily. The police, the fire, the water department was there with questions and games. Utility maintenance was there with vehicles, TV, storms, vac, pipes. It was a good display for all the children who can learn some of the, and maybe teenagers that can learn some of the things and about the city and about where, I know that jobs was mentioned a lot there. Would you like to be this, do this when you grow up? Would you like to, you know? So I feel that it was a very good display for the city. And thank you, everybody that participated.
Okay, Brian.
Thanks. So I apologize, but this will be a little bit longer than my normal, just because I wanted to recap the things and events that took place last week on my travels. But first off, locally, I attended the Polk County School Board's ribbon cutting for Scenic Terrace. They are hosting our kids from Elbert Elementary in the time being. They've got a great group out there. That project is absolutely phenomenal. And again, that was part of one of those first projects that the school board is utilizing, one of those partnerships. I mean, you're not talking about saving millions of dollars. You're saving tens of millions of dollars in that partnership. So to leverage that into that school and that facility is a great job by the Polk County School Board, and appreciate very much them hosting our elementary school students while that property is getting torn down and rebuilt. Attended the Main Street Board meeting. They passed their budget for 23-24. Also attended, as Tracy mentioned, the Ridge League of Cities dinner. Staff did a great job, awesome event. I think we well represent ourselves to all the municipalities around Polk County each and every year at that event. So that's a tremendous job, and it just puts the spotlight on Winter Haven. So wonderful job. Also attended the Ritz Board meeting budget workshop. They are formalizing, actually got in the email today, new set of bylaws, and they're focusing in on what their budget needs to look like moving forward. So that's a great job by that active board pulling those things together. Also attended the MPOA meeting in Orlando, which took an hour and a half each way once again to get there and get home because of I-4. But one of the main presentations there was the I-4 projects going forward, and I wish that we could snap our fingers and those would be done tomorrow, but I think we'll be moving forward and get done in record time because that will be a huge benefit for the I-4 projects from Highway 27 out to 429. Also saw a Brightline presentation at that event, and they are now open and operating and running trains from Orlando to Miami. I looked at pricing one out. It wasn't too bad. It's just, does that work for what you need? But I see myself potentially using that down the road when I've got to go to Miami, which is not a favorite thing of mine. Rather go to Tallahassee. With that, also attended the Hands on Haven event. I'll just say I'm a little concerned. My little guy went right up to the snake and grabbed the snake and started petting the snake, and that's not something that I have ever done or will ever do, but he showed no fear. But that was really a great event for the kids. I saw the new Tahoe that the police department now has. That's an awesome, impressive vehicle, and hopefully that'll pay some dividends as well. Now, last week, so I attended the Florida League of Cities Fast Fly-In in Washington, D.C. The congressmen and women that we met with, Congressman Scott Franklin, who is, of course, our representative, met with his office, was able to tie a lot of Winter Haven-specific projects to a lot of the Florida League initiatives that we were putting forth and advocating for to our congressmen and women. So in addition to Scott Franklin's office, we met with Congressman Byron Donalds, who's coincidentally in discussions now to be potentially the Speaker of the House. Was really an impressive guy, seemed to really have everything together, and gave us a lot of great insight for what Washington, D.C. may look like in the coming months. Really focusing in on, spending the money that you need to versus spending the money that you want to. And it's going to be very important going forward to identify those projects that need to be done versus the projects that we want to be done. And there's a key difference there. But also met with Congresswoman Lois Frankel's office, Congresswoman Phyllis McCormick, Congressman Brian Mast, Congresswoman Laurel Lee, and then also sat down with Senator Rick Scott and Senator Marco Rubio. Interesting times to be in Washington, but it was a very impactful trip. One of the items is the federal preemption of local government of broadband deployment. The Florida League's position, and I tend to agree with it, in the opposition of H.R. 3557, which would dramatically preempt local authority to manage public rights of way and loose land use for telecommunications infrastructure. I gave the example of recently that we had in Winter Haven of a utility utilizing bullet boring through the ground, hitting our main water line to Legoland Hotel, and Legoland having to bus their occupants to Orlando. Those are the kind of things that happen more frequently if a bill like H.R. 3557 moves forward. In addition to that, we discussed a four-letter word up there all week in PFAS. We urge Congress and the administration to support legislation that addresses the growing concerns about PFAS and soil in the water, and providing
Exemption?
what?
An exemption?
Exemption, sorry, I'm going too fast here. An exemption to municipalities in dealing with this PFAS. We're not the ones that created it, but it's out there, and we want to treat it and get it better. And so we need that exemption from EPA and legal matters, because if we go and we spend what it's going to take in wastewater treatment plant 3, which will be a component of getting PFAS out of the system, we can't go on top of that and pay potentially frivolous lawsuits that the city had nothing to do in creating PFAS and getting that into the system. We want it out of the system. Also talked about the National Flood Insurance Program, where we urge congressional members to advocate for a long-term NFIP reauthorization package that provides affordability for existing and future policyholders, more accurate flood mapping, and resilience incentives. This is something that has been out there for a long time, and it's time to stop kicking the can. So hopefully we start to see some revisions to our NFIP program. Simplifying local government grants was a big one. There are currently over 190 different processes in applying for a government grant, and those are expenses that municipalities really can't take on with the hopes of potentially getting the grant. So if you go out there and you essentially hire a team of grant writers and grant staff to go out there and apply for these grants, you're paying that cost out of pocket in hopes that you're going to get a return on your investment, but there's no guarantee. If we can streamline those local government grant processes, really, in my opinion, there shouldn't be more than one process in applying for a grant. we can utilize existing city staff and the different areas of expertise for the grants to make those applications and hopefully win those funds. Finally, got to visit the White House, Intergovernmental Affairs Communities, and Building a Better Florida. I will just say, it's interesting when you visit the White House under this climate. There are some that are way out here, and there's other members in Washington, D.C. that are way over here. And they continuously, to me, have just forgotten, let's go down the middle and let's pick out what's the best option that's down the middle. It's not about way over here or way over here. It's, what's the best for all? But one of the main topics there was the ARPA funding project and the positive effect that it had on municipalities. Of course, no one ever got enough. Everybody wanted more. But nonetheless, we were able to advocate and continue to work with our friends in Washington, D.C. to do things the right way. With that, thank you. Sorry about that.
Good report, Brian. You showed us how to do it. Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, I'll start with the eating stuff first. Advent Health, you missed a great lunch. You left. But Advent Health out on Cypress Gardens Boulevard is building a 23-bed emergency facility. And what's really amazing about that is that it was a little over 4 months ago that we did the groundbreaking, and the buildings are up. And they're projecting that they will be providing services in there by summer, but they said it probably will be spring. So what we did is, I've never actually did a ribbon cutting where you signed a beam. That's what we did, is each one of us signed on the beam. Now, they did say to us that nobody will be able to see what you signed because it's going to be covered over. So, but we actually signed one of those steel beams for the facility. Attended the TPO meeting, and it was one of the most contentious TPO meetings that I have experienced since the high-speed rail. That's the last time that we had a meeting on that level. And there were a couple of items that were being discussed. And one of them was the proposed sales tax and getting the county commissioners to actually vote to put it on the ballot. And oh my goodness, it was the TPO, we voted to send a resolution for the county commissioners to put it on the ballot. And of course, all 5 county commissioners are on the TPO board. And so they were going backwards and forth about it. There is really a lot of opposition on the county commission to that. And then the other item that was very contentious was we had a presentation on Sunrail coming to Polk County. And for those of you that may not know, Sunrail starts up in D-Land and comes all the way down to Kissimmee. And the whole idea is to have Sunrail come to Polk County and ultimately to actually go all the way to Lakeland. But there was a lot of dissension about the cost of even doing it. And we were not even voting and talking about cost. It was a preliminary report to show the interest of it and the impact of it. And but we were getting bogged down, and I've never seen that before, except, as I said, when we were discussing the high-speed rail a few years back. But it was, that's what happened. So we weren't voting on anything. It was just a lively discussion. The other items that was, the 5-year work plan was voted and approved on, and as already has been mentioned, that there have been some major I-4 improvements in the Polk County area, and some widening, as a matter of fact. Some sections of I-4 from, say, like the 429 down to past 557, I think it is. And the question was raised, if you're going to increase the lanes, is that going to prohibit the preliminary discussions and requests that we've had from Brightline to possibly put the high-speed rail down the median, and that was addressed, and it was said that it would not prohibit that there still would be right-of-way, even with the widening, to actually continue with Brightline with the high-speed rail. And I guess finally, with the TPO meeting, our project is still in the 5-year work plan, which is Lucerne Park Road, actually the improvements, widening, and from MLK to Avenue Y. So that was good, but as I said, it was one of a meeting like we haven't had. And finally, we also get one additional representative on the TPO board. We did vote to increase, because of Winter Haven's population, we will have now 3 members, 3 representatives on the TPO board, where currently we only have 2. And so that was the TPO meeting. Attended the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. It was in Lake Okeechobee, well, in Okeechobee. It's sort of hard to say Lake Okeechobee because it wasn't in Lake Okeechobee. It was
My goodness.
it's, I guess, a matter of semantics or whatever, but I call it Okeechobee City. So we were there, and that's our quarterly meeting that we have. And then finally, attended the Leadership Winter Haven Luncheon, which was a good presentation put on by the staff of the goings-on in Winter Haven. So thoroughly enjoyed it. And finally, all I can say is the Bradford project that we just talked about, that has such a long-reaching potential for us. And I just hope, T, that y'all can negotiate it and that we can get that project going, because for the future of Winter Haven and the long-term viability as it relates to our water processes, it could have just a tremendous effect. So y'all get to it. That's it.
Okay, I'll be brief. Signed the beam today. There's only one signature on that whole beam is signed in orange and blue. So we do have
Probably where it'll rust.
It's where we have a nice, the sky's blue and the sun is orange, so we figure we may as well have an orange and blue signature on there. So had a Polk Vision meeting. Of course, Leadership Winter Haven, we've already heard about that. That was a fun day. Also attended just for only about 20 minutes, the Surgeon General came down, and Tracy was there and actually said some words, so thank you for covering for me. I was able to sit in the back and spend about 20 minutes. I didn't get to speak to him, but was able to witness that, and Tracy did a good job representing the City Commission on that. We had a Theater Winter Haven won an award at the Arts Gala over in Bonnet Springs in Lakeland. I went over there to spend the evening with them, and it was really a lot of fun. And some pretty, in the arts world, some pretty A-list people that were being honored over there. Theater Winter Haven won the big award, the Arts Organization of the Year. They were well represented and had a good crew over there. And so if you see Dan, congratulate him because it was a big deal for them to win that. You guys know how I love gymnastics at the field house. They had gymnastics over the weekend. So if you ever want to feel good about yourself, go to watch gymnastics meet. Also had a ribbon cutting at the Florida Room, which is right across from the, kind of behind the Egg Haven. It's a new gift shop that's open, and it's big, and it's got really, really, really fine stuff in there. So if you're looking for a really nice gift, they have really stocked that full of some really high-end, very fancy kind of things. So stop by there and say hello to them. They've really done something very impressive for Winter Haven. This is a really cool shop, so if you ever need a gift for somebody special or whatnot, go by there and, and see them. And finally, I always like to recognize scouts in the room. I see we have a scout back there. Is this an Eagle Scout? Are we going for an Eagle? Nope. You're just getting a badge, huh? This is your civics lesson, so, well, congratulations. We always like to recognize scouts when they come into the room, so congratulations and good luck on your quest. So that's it for me. We'll now go to the city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commission, nothing this evening.
City manager?
Couple of things, Mr. Mayor, if I could. First, just want to extend congratulations to Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong. It's outstanding recognition for 20 years of service, and as you were all joking, the likelihood of that happening in the future with term limits in so many communities, including our own, is that's probably can be few and far between, and to be able to give 20 years plus of service to Winter Haven is outstanding. Is the Mayor Pro Tem was giving comments on TPO proceedings this evening. I'm always absolutely so impressed by your knowledge of TPO and water issues and the history of Winter Haven and all these different things. So you have served your community well, and you certainly deserve that and so much more recognition. Want to extend a special thank you to some staff members. The Ridge League of Cities was an absolutely fantastic event, had a great program. We had speakers on behalf of water, which was a very timely thing, and the day after was the Winter Haven One Water Summit. But A.J. Nicholson from my office headed that up along with Katrina Hill, Heather Reuter, Bethany Owen, Selena Jairam from Parks and Recreation, and Angie was involved in that, and Natalie Wilson as well. Just a great event. I think we showed our best to Polk County and beyond. I think people had a lot of fun, and they all went home with a nice new coffee cup filled with candy corn. So yeah, and Commissioner Yates, the PFAS discussion, we have begun to refer that as the PFACalypse, because it has gotten more steam and more momentum in the past, I'm going to say, 12 to 14 months for something that has been brewing for decades. So we appreciate the work you did for us in Tallahassee on that. Thank you. DC, sorry.
Did you want to talk about T on the
Oh,
liaison
yes, sir.
request?
I should read my own agenda to make sure I've got my liaison stuff down. But you may recall that we will be advertising for a new primary use agreement for a swim team operator to deliver competitive swimming at Roddy Gaines Olympic Pool. This is similar to what we would do with baseball, football, soccer, any of those. So Julie Adams and her team will be putting together a request for proposals from interested boards or entities that would like to provide competitive swimming out of the Roddy Gaines Olympic Pool. And we're wanting to see if you might have interest in appointing a liaison to serve on that.
Anybody want to volunteer?
If you don't choose to have one, that's certainly your prerogative as well, but I always
I'll
want to
do it
give you.
unless somebody else wants to do it.
I just felt the same way, so you're welcome to.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
You're welcome. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else?
That will be all.
Deputy City Manager?
Good evening. Just want to commend Katrina, our Director of Public Affairs and Communication, and the city team for their efforts in hosting the Hands on Haven event this weekend. It was just really cool to get out and see the amount of pride that our team takes in their work. I'm just watching them talk to members of the community and let kids climb on equipment and show them how it works. Just a lot of pride in that day, and it was a cool way to celebrate City Government Week.
Good. Oh, I meant to bring up, I want to ask the city attorney if there's any way we as a commission can award Mayor Pro Tem an extra year of service so that when he retires, he'll actually have 25 years in. So Is there any way,
25.
huh?
It'll be 25.
It's 20 now, so you got 4 more years. You just got,
No, this is my 21st year.
oh, 24, okay, strike that, never mind. I was gonna try to make sure he had 25 years.
He could always serve in a appointed role on a CRA
You know what
board.
happened? You know how it got to be 1 extra year? When
We went from odd to even.
we went to the odd, even year because of the election. We used to be, the first election was in '02 with the national elections, and now we're an off-year election.
Is 25 wedding anniversary, is that the silver or is that the gold?
Silver.
Silver, okay, so you'll get a nice silver watch at the end, 25, so, okay. Vanessa, you got anything?
I do, lots of election stuff. So as you know, Election Day is on Tuesday, November 7th. The logic and accuracy test of voting equipment for the canvassing board is October 31st, 2023 at 2:30 PM at the Supervisor of Elections Office Operations Center in Winter Haven. And that advertisement for that meeting is being prepared by the Elections Office per state statute. The last day to register to vote was October 10th. That's when the books closed. However, the last day to request a vote by mail ballot for this election is October 26th. Early walk-in voting started today and will continue through November 3rd from 8:30 a.m. till 4:30 p.m., but that does exclude weekends. I know there have been weekends in the past, but not this year. Those 3 locations are the Polk County Supervisor of Elections headquarters in Bartow, the Polk County Supervisor of Elections Operations Center in Winter Haven, and the Polk County Government Center in Lakeland. Of course, on Election Day, the polls open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And a lot of other information, such as polling locations, et cetera, is available on the city's website and on the Polk County Supervisor of Election information page. And I just pulled up some stats before this meeting that I thought you'd be interested in. So total registered voters in Winter Haven as of October 10th book closing is 30,981. As of today, the vote by mail ballots requested are 3,748. And as of today, the vote by mail ballots returned are 727. So I did a good batch of that today. And that's all I have.
Vanessa, if you would do me a favor, there is a meeting that is to be scheduled on November 9 at 5:05 PM. And can you affirm for us who needs to be in attendance at that? Because that is a certification, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, there has to be a quorum of the canvassing board.
And do we have confirmation that we will have?
Yes.
I just want,
Yes.
because it's an after 5 PM, it's a little different than what we've done in the past because of Veterans Day being on Friday.
Yeah, we're gonna be able to be there.
We'll be.
Thank you.
Okay, emergency matters not received for the agenda, motion to adjourn. We're adjourned. Thank you.